Earth received a transmission from an alien civilization called the Galdoran Collective on a quiet Tuesday morning. The message came through every radio telescope around the world simultaneously. Scientists worked frantically for 3 days to decode it, finally revealing an invitation to meet at the edge of the solar system. Captain Jack Foster stood on the bridge of the Starship Resolute, watching his crew prepare for humanity's first diplomatic mission beyond Mars. At 42, Jack had spent most of his life in the Earth Defense Fleet, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. "Captain, final systems check complete," said First Officer Diane Miller. Her calm efficiency had been invaluable during their rushed preparations. "Thank you, Diane. How's Lisa doing with the translations?" "Still working. She hasn't slept in 2 days." Jack nodded and made his way to the linguistics lab. Lisa Rodriguez sat surrounded by screens, her dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, eyes red from exhaustion. "Any progress?" Jack asked. Lisa looked up. "Their language is structured unlike anything we've seen. But I'm getting there." She pointed to a series of symbols. "They refer to themselves as shepherds and us as worthy stock. I don't like the implications. Keep working. We launch in 6 hours." The Resolute departed Earth amid global celebration. Humanity's first faster-than-light vessel carried the hopes of the planet. The crew of 20 represented Earth's finest: scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. During the week-long journey, Security Chief Ben Carter conducted daily drills. "I don't care if they look like cute teddy bears," he told his team. "We stay alert." On the 7th day, they reached Neptune's orbit. The alien vessel waited, a massive structure that resembled a metallic jellyfish, pulsing with blue light. "Open communications," Jack ordered. Lisa activated her translation program as the alien transmission came through. A face appeared on screen, humanoid but with iridescent scales and 4 dark eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "We welcome Earth's representatives," the alien said, voice translated into flat, emotionless English. "I am Observer Krell of the Galdoran Collective. I am Captain Jack Foster of Earth. We come in peace and friendship." The alien's upper eyes blinked. "We have monitored your development for 73 of your years. Your progress from atmospheric flight to space travel has been noteworthy." During the next hours, the diplomatic team led by Amanda Walsh attempted to establish relations. The aliens answered questions selectively, revealing little about themselves while asking detailed questions about Earth's resources, population, and military capabilities. During a break, Amanda approached Jack privately. "They're assessing us, not greeting us. This isn't a cultural exchange." "I've noticed," Jack replied. "They've scanned our ship multiple times." When talks resumed, Observer Krell's tone shifted. "The collective has determined Earth would benefit from our guidance. Your species shows potential as associates." "Associates?" Amanda asked. "We seek equal diplomatic relations." "Equality must be earned," Krell responded. "Your civilization is young. The collective offers protection and knowledge in exchange for resource contributions and service." Jack stepped forward. "We appreciate your offer, but humanity determines its own path." Krell's expression didn't change. "Unfortunate. Isolated species rarely survive first contact with the wider galaxy. You have 1 orbital cycle around your star to reconsider. After that, you will either join as contributors or remain quarantined in this system." The transmission ended abruptly. On the return journey, the crew analyzed everything they'd learned. Science Officer Eric Johnson discovered evidence the aliens had placed monitoring devices throughout the solar system decades ago. As Earth came into view, Jack gathered his officers. "They didn't come to meet us as equals. They came to evaluate potential servants." He looked at each face around him. "But they've made a critical error." "What's that, Captain?" Lisa asked. "They underestimated humanity. And that will be their last mistake." 5 years passed since humanity's first contact with the Galdoran Collective. Earth had changed dramatically. Nations united under a single defense council. Scientists worked day and night studying the few pieces of alien technology they had glimpsed during the diplomatic mission. Commander Kate Wilson walked through the underground research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. At 35, she led humanity's most secretive military division. Her team worked on adapting Earth's weapons to counter the alien threat everyone knew was coming. "Commander, you need to see this," called Alan Murphy, the division's lead scientist. His normally calm voice carried an edge of excitement. Kate followed him to his lab where a small metal sphere floated above a platform. "We finally cracked the propulsion theory," Alan explained, eyes bright with achievement. "This prototype generates a field that can bend space-time. With this, we could build ships faster than anything we've made before." "How quickly can we scale it up?" Kate asked. 3 months for a working engine. Maybe 6 for a ship." Kate nodded. "Get it done." The surveillance satellites picked up movement at the edge of the system yesterday. They wouldn't have 6 months. 4 weeks later, the Galdoran fleet entered Earth orbit. 7 massive ships, each shaped like a curved blade, positioned themselves around the planet. Their message was simple: Earth would now join the collective as a protected territory. Resistance would result in corrective measures. Earth's leaders debated while the military prepared. The Galdorans allowed 24 hours for an answer. When the deadline passed, Earth launched its defenses. Space stations fired railguns. Ground-based lasers targeted the alien ships. For a brief moment, humanity believed they might stand a chance. Then the Galdorans responded. Their weapons cut through Earth's defenses like paper. Major cities around the world went dark as precision strikes destroyed power grids and command centers. In Colorado, Kate Wilson watched the invasion unfold on monitors. "The prototype ship is ready," Alan said, face grim. "We've loaded the plans and as much research as possible." "How many can it carry?" Kate asked. 30 people, no more." Kate made the hardest decision of her life. Launch it. Get our best pilots and engineers on board. They need to escape, rebuild, and come back for us. The ship, named Defiant, launched from a hidden facility in Antarctica while the aliens focused on major military targets. Using Alan's revolutionary drive, it slipped past the Galdoran blockade and disappeared into deep space. Within days, Earth surrendered. The Galdorans established control centers in every major city. Humans were categorized by skills and assigned to labor divisions. The aliens appeared almost benevolent at first, promising technological advancement in exchange for resources and cooperation. 3 months into the occupation, their true nature emerged. Work camps replaced offices. Food rationing became starvation for those who resisted. The Galdorans viewed humans as clever animals, useful for labor, but nothing more. In Chicago, William Hayes watched alien overseers direct a construction project. Once a structural engineer, now he worked as a common laborer. But William had a secret. At night, he led a growing resistance cell. "They're building a processing center," he told his group, gathered in an abandoned subway tunnel. "Once it's complete, they'll start shipping people off-world." "How do we fight them?" asked Susan Clark, a former police officer. "Their weapons are too advanced." William opened a crate, revealing homemade explosives. "We start small, disrupt their operations, learn their weaknesses." Across the planet, similar groups formed. Humanity appeared broken, but underneath their submission, a storm was brewing. In a secure facility on the moon, the Galdorans never noticed when humans began disappearing from work crews, replaced by others who covered for them. Deep below the lunar surface, the first seeds of rebellion took root. The aliens had expected submission. They would learn that humans never truly surrender. 20 years had passed since the Galdoran occupation began. Earth looked defeated. Humans worked in factories and mines, harvesting resources for their alien masters. The Galdorans believed they had crushed human spirit through harsh punishments and constant surveillance. They were wrong. Deep beneath the lunar surface, Maria Sanchez adjusted the targeting system on a newly built warship. At 32, she had spent half her life as part of the secret resistance. Her parents had smuggled her to the moon when she was 12, hiding her among maintenance workers. "How's it coming?" asked Colonel Stephen Grant, the military leader of the lunar base. "Better than expected," Maria replied, wiping sweat from her forehead. "I've increased weapon efficiency by 20%. The shields can now withstand their primary energy weapons for 8 minutes instead of 5. Stephen nodded with approval. 8 minutes could make the difference between victory and death. The lunar colony had transformed over the years. What the Galdorans thought was a simple mining operation was actually the largest shipyard in human history. Every tunnel, every cave had been repurposed. Over 200 warships waited in hidden docks, each built with stolen alien technology combined with human innovation. Admiral Paul Johnson surveyed the fleet from a control room. At 65, he was one of the few high-ranking military officers to survive the initial invasion. His white hair and scarred face showed the toll of 2 decades of secret war. "Status report," he commanded. His aide displayed a holographic map of the solar system. "The Galdorans have reduced their fleet to 15 ships. They believe Earth is secured and have deployed forces elsewhere. Their main base remains on the dark side of Mars. And our agents. We have people in every major Galdoran facility on Earth. The resistance now numbers over 3 million. They await your signal." This had been their strategy for years. Appear broken while preparing for one massive strike. Humans working in alien facilities secretly sabotaged equipment and stole technology. Knowledge was smuggled to the moon through an elaborate network of couriers. On Earth, William Hayes led the largest resistance cell from the ruins of Boston. Now 50, his body showed the scars of countless close calls with Galdoran security forces. "The food shipments will be delayed again," he told his team. "Redirect everything to support stations 5 through 9. We'll need those supplies when the attack begins." "When will it be?" asked a young fighter named Chris Bennett. William checked his watch, a special device that received encrypted signals from the moon. "Soon. Admiral Johnson promises it will be soon." In orbit around Jupiter, 3 human spies worked aboard a Galdoran monitoring station. They systematically fed false information back to the alien command, reporting normal activity while hiding the massive buildup on the moon. The plan might have worked for another year, giving humanity time to build more ships and train more pilots. But plans rarely survive first contact with the enemy. A routine Galdoran patrol ship detected unusual energy signatures near the lunar South Pole. Instead of reporting back, the curious captain decided to investigate personally. His ship discovered one of the hidden hangar doors just as it opened for a test flight. The patrol ship transmitted an emergency signal before the test vessel could destroy it. On the moon, alarm sirens blared through every tunnel and chamber. "They found us," Admiral Johnson announced to his command staff. "The Galdorans will send everything they have within hours." "We're not ready," argued his second-in-command. "We needed more time." Johnson's face hardened with determination. 20 years is time enough. Send the signal to all cells on Earth. Launch every ship we have. He stood tall, addressing everyone in the command center. "The time for hiding is over. Today, humanity fights back." Captain Julia Martinez stood on the bridge of the Vengeance as the massive warship broke free from its lunar dock. Around her, the crew worked with focused intensity. After years of training in simulators, they were finally taking their ship into real battle. "All systems online," reported her first officer. "Weapon banks charged." Julia's dark eyes fixed on the main view screen. The Earth hung like a blue jewel against the blackness of space. Her home, under enemy control for 20 years. Her parents had died in the resistance when she was a child. "Launch all fighters," she ordered. "Set course for Orbital Defense Station Alpha." Across the lunar surface, hangar doors opened. 200 warships of various sizes emerged, their hulls gleaming with the distinctive blue-black metal humanity had developed by combining Earth materials with stolen alien technology. The fleet moved in perfect formation, each ship taking its assigned place. From the Vengeance, Julia sent a simple message to all vessels: remember Earth. In orbit, the Galdoran commanders reacted with shock. Their long-range scanners showed a massive human fleet approaching from the moon. A moon they thought contained nothing but mining operations and a small military outpost. The alien commander ordered all available ships to defensive positions. 7 major warships and 20 support vessels moved to intercept the human fleet. On Earth, the signal reached resistance cells simultaneously. William Hayes led his fighters out from their hidden bunkers. Across the planet, millions of humans who had pretended submission for years suddenly revealed their true intentions. They attacked Galdoran facilities with hidden weapons and sabotaged alien equipment. In orbit, the two fleets clashed. The Galdorans had superior technology but were outnumbered. Human ships took heavy damage but pressed their attack with unexpected ferocity. Shield status. Julia shouted as the Vengeance shuddered under enemy fire. Holding at 60%, her tactical officer responded. Their weapons are more powerful than our simulations predicted. Julia gripped her command chair. Implement Phillips' protocol. Dr. Derek Phillips had spent 15 years studying Galdoran shield technology. He discovered that their defensive systems operated on a specific frequency pattern. The protocol he developed was humanity's secret weapon. Throughout the human fleet, special transmitters activated. They bombarded the alien shields with precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulses. For several crucial seconds, the Galdoran shields flickered. Fire everything, Julia ordered. Human weapons struck the vulnerable alien ships. 2 Galdoran cruisers exploded immediately. A third spun out of control, its engines dead. Below on Earth, Williams' team captured the Chicago Control Center. His fighters secured the communication array and transmitted alien defense codes to the fleet above. The battle raged for 3 days. Human ships took heavy losses but kept fighting. The Vengeance led a final assault against the Galdoran flagship, both vessels suffering catastrophic damage. Julia's bridge was filled with smoke. Half her crew was dead or injured. She wiped blood from a cut on her forehead and gave her final order: ramming speed. The Vengeance collided with the alien flagship. Both ships erupted in a massive explosion visible from Earth's surface. When the debris cleared, the remaining Galdoran forces attempted to retreat. Human ships pursued, showing no mercy. On the 7th day, Earth was free. The surviving alien commander was brought before Admiral Johnson in what had once been the United Nations building in New York. "You were supposed to be primitive," the alien said, his translated voice filled with confusion. "The collective's assessments are never wrong." Johnson leaned forward. "Your mistake was thinking we would accept slavery. Humans don't surrender. We adapt, we plan, and we fight back. The collective will send more ships," the commander warned. "You cannot stand against the entire galaxy." Admiral Johnson's face showed grim determination. "We don't plan to stand against it. We plan to change it." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the fleet. We're taking the fight to their homeworld." The Iron Fist had awakened, and the galaxy would soon feel its impact. The newly expanded human fleet moved through the darkness of space, pushing deep into Galdoran territory. 3 months had passed since Earth's liberation. During that time, humanity had built more ships and incorporated captured alien technology into their weapons. Admiral Johnson directed operations from the flagship Freedom, a massive vessel constructed from the remains of 3 Galdoran cruisers. His strategy was bold. Instead of waiting for the inevitable counterattack, humans would strike first. Status report. Johnson ordered as they approached the first Galdoran colony world. "Defenses as expected," replied his tactical officer. 1 orbital station and 3 patrol ships. Deploy Major Cooper's team. Major Frank Cooper led the Special Tactics Division, soldiers trained for ship capture and technology retrieval. At 40, he was a veteran of the Earth resistance who had fought Galdorans for most of his adult life. 5 minutes to drop, Frank told his team as they prepared in the shuttle bay. Remember, we need their communication hub intact. The battle for the colony lasted less than 2 hours. While the main fleet engaged the orbital defenses, Frank's team slipped through and captured the planet's control center. The Galdorans surrendered when they realized their leaders were hostages. What happened next surprised the humans. The native population, a species called the Ventari, welcomed them as liberators. The tall, four-armed beings had been enslaved by the Galdorans for generations. "Your people fight what no one else dares fight," the Ventari leader told Frank through a translator. "We wish to join you." Similar scenes played out across 3 more systems as the human fleet advanced. Communications officer Olivia West found herself managing an impromptu alliance of formerly subjugated species. "They want to contribute ships and fighters," she reported to Admiral Johnson. "The Ventari have already modified 6 vessels to join our fleet." Johnson nodded thoughtfully. "The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Train them on our tactics." The deeper they pushed into Galdoran space, the fiercer the resistance became. At the battle for the Proxima system, the humans encountered the first major counterattack. Sensors detect 117 enemy vessels approaching, the tactical officer announced, his voice tense. Admiral Johnson studied the tactical display. The Galdoran Grand Armada outnumbered his fleet 3-1. Their ships were larger and more heavily armed. "Implement Operation Thunderclap," he ordered. This was the strategy Johnson had developed for just such a situation. The human fleet split into 3 divisions. The smallest group, led by Captain Howard Lee, launched a direct assault on the Galdoran flagship. The second group, under Commander Beth Wilson, attacked the enemy supply ships at the rear. The main force, led by Johnson himself, held position, appearing to protect their retreat path. The Galdorans fell for the deception. They divided their forces to counter each human attack, expecting the main fleet to retreat. Instead, Johnson ordered a full advance, cutting through the weakened center of the alien formation. Their command structure relies on central control, Johnson had explained during planning. "Cut off the head, and the body will falter." The battle lasted for 27 hours. Human ships fought with a combination of captured alien weapons and innovative tactics. When the Galdoran flagship finally exploded, their remaining forces lost coordination. "They're breaking formation," reported the sensor officer. 83 enemy ships are retreating. The bridge crew cheered, but Admiral Johnson remained solemn. "Pursuit course. No survivors." This was humanity's new doctrine. No mercy for those who had shown none to Earth. The pursuing human ships hunted down and destroyed every retreating enemy vessel. As the debris of the Galdoran Armada floated through space, Admiral Johnson received an unexpected transmission. It came not from the enemy but from a new source, the Galactic Council. "We request dialogue with the representatives of Earth," the message stated. "Recent events require immediate diplomatic attention." Johnson smiled grimly. Humanity had finally gotten the galaxy's attention. The diplomatic vessel Accord approached the neutral world of Nexus. Inside, Ambassador Emma Blackwood reviewed her notes one final time. At 53, she had been a respected international lawyer before the Galdoran invasion. Now she represented all of humanity to the wider galaxy. "Are you ready?" asked Admiral Johnson, who had insisted on accompanying the diplomatic mission. Emma nodded, her silver-streaked hair catching the light. "As ready as anyone can be to negotiate with aliens who've watched our species suffer for 20 years without intervention." The Nexus station orbited a gas giant in unclaimed space. Its ring-shaped structure housed representatives from 12 major galactic powers. The human delegation was escorted to a large chamber where beings of various forms waited at a circular table. "The human representatives may approach," announced a tall, crystalline entity. "I am Moderator Zelthar of the Galactic Council." Emma stepped forward confidently. "I am Ambassador Emma Blackwood of Earth. We come seeking justice, not merely recognition." The council session lasted 16 hours. Emma presented evidence of Galdoran atrocities, labor camps, forced relocations, and the systematic exploitation of Earth and other conquered worlds. Admiral Johnson detailed the military campaign that had liberated 7 systems in just 4 months. "The Galdoran Collective has violated the Council's non-interference directives," Emma argued. Yet this council took no action. "The Council observes but does not intervene in territorial disputes," replied a reptilian delegate. "Is the enslavement of billions a mere territorial dispute?" Emma countered. The council members exchanged uncomfortable glances. A blue-skinned representative leaned forward. "We must address the true concern. Your species has demonstrated alarming military capabilities. Several members fear you will not stop with the Galdoran systems." Admiral Johnson laughed without humor. "You ignored us when we were victims. Now you fear us as conquerors." During a recess, Emma received a transmission from Earth. Lieutenant Greg Mitchell had led a small task force against a key Galdoran stronghold. Against all odds, his 3 ships had destroyed a defended station and captured critical intelligence. The lieutenant found evidence that 4 council species were trading with the Galdorans during the occupation, her aide whispered. They were buying resources harvested by human slaves. Emma's expression hardened. When the session resumed, she presented this new information. "Humanity offers a choice," she announced. "Recognize our sovereignty over liberated territories, provide reparations for 2 decades of slavery, and acknowledge our right to continue freeing oppressed worlds from Galdoran control." "And if we refuse?" asked the crystalline moderator. Admiral Johnson stepped forward. "Then nothing changes. We continue our campaign. But now we'll know which of you profited from our enslavement." He paused meaningfully. "And we'll remember." The council chambers erupted in argument. Some delegates demanded sanctions against Earth. Others urged accommodation. The division prevented any unified response. Outside the chambers, Emma met privately with representatives from smaller powers, species that had also suffered under stronger neighbors. "We seek allies, not subjects," she told them. "Earth remembers what it means to be vulnerable." By the session's end, no formal agreement had been reached. The council remained deadlocked, unable to oppose Earth yet unwilling to support human expansion. As they departed Nexus, Admiral Johnson seemed troubled. "They'll try to contain us eventually." Emma studied the stars visible through the viewport. "Perhaps, but we've planted seeds today. Not everyone in the galaxy fears human strength. Some see us as potential protectors." And the Galdorans. Their delegation requested a separate meeting tomorrow. Emma smiled thinly. They wished to discuss surrender terms. The Accord began its journey back to Earth. Behind them, the Council remained in emergency session, debating how to handle the new human question. Some advocated for military containment. Others suggested diplomatic engagement. None realized that humanity had already decided its own path forward. The Iron Fist would protect former victims and punish former oppressors. The galaxy would adapt to humanity's presence, or face the consequences. 10 years had passed since humanity had established itself as a major galactic power. Earth had transformed from an occupied world to the center of a growing alliance. The former Galdoran Empire had collapsed, its subject worlds either joining the Earth Alliance or establishing their own independence. President Nicole Harper stood before the full assembly of the Galactic Council. At 62, she carried herself with quiet authority. Once a resistance fighter hiding in the ruins of Chicago, she now represented 17 worlds and 6 different species. "Distinguished representatives," she began, her voice calm but firm. "For 30 years, humanity fought for its survival. Today we present the official doctrine that will guide our interactions with all galactic powers." The chamber fell silent. Representatives from 34 spacefaring civilizations watched intently. The Iron Fist Doctrine consists of 3 principles. President Harper continued. First, any act of aggression against Earth or its allies will be met with overwhelming force. Second, we will not tolerate the enslavement or exploitation of any sentient species. Third, we extend friendship to all who respect these principles. The directive was simple but the message clear. Humanity would not be victimized again, nor would they allow others to suffer as they had. In Earth orbit, Captain Ryan Bennett supervised final preparations aboard the Defender, the newest class of human warship. At 33, he represented the first generation of officers who had never lived under alien occupation. Engine status. He asked his chief engineer. The new drive is operating at 115% of projected capacity, she replied. We could reach the Andromeda Galaxy in less than 6 months if we wanted. Ryan nodded with satisfaction. The Defender was officially on a goodwill tour of allied worlds. Unofficially, it demonstrated Earth's military capabilities to potential enemies. Captain, we've received our final orders, his communications officer reported. We'll be escorting President Harper back to Earth after her address. On the main viewer, Ryan watched the council session. The representatives' reactions varied from supportive nods to barely concealed hostility. The Mentakian delegate rose to speak. Earth demands non-aggression while expanding its military presence throughout the sector. Some might view this as hypocrisy. President Harper smiled slightly. The strong make the rules, Ambassador. For centuries, your people stood by while the Galdorans enslaved worlds. Now humanity ensures such atrocities never happen again. She straightened her shoulders. We did not seek this role, but we accept its responsibility. In a secured section of the council station, Admiral Johnson, now 75 but still sharp, met with military leaders from allied worlds. Holographic displays showed the positions of Earth Alliance fleets throughout the galaxy. The Mentakians are mobilizing forces near the Rigel system, reported a Ventari commander. As expected, Johnson replied, deploy the 7th Fleet to their border, but maintain distance. No provocations. A young aide entered with an update. Sir, intelligence reports the Mentakians have abandoned their forward positions. They're withdrawing to their home systems. Johnson nodded. They tested our resolve and found it solid. He turned to his allies. This is how peace is maintained, through strength and the willingness to use it. Back in the council chamber, President Harper concluded her address. Earth remembers its history. We were judged weak, conquered, and nearly destroyed. We will never allow such vulnerability again. Her voice carried throughout the chamber. Those who seek friendship will find no better ally. Those who seek conflict will face the Iron Fist. As she finished, delegates from a dozen worlds stood in support. Others remained seated, uncomfortable but unwilling to object. President Harper left the podium and walked toward her security detail. Her aide leaned close. The Mentakians have recalled their forces, Madam President. The demonstration worked. Harper nodded slightly. Peace through strength is not ideal, but it's the language the galaxy understands. As the presidential shuttle departed for the Defender, Captain Ryan Bennett ordered his crew to battle stations, not because he expected attack, but because humanity always remained vigilant. The Iron Fist Doctrine wasn't just a policy, but a promise. Never again would humans bow to conquerors. The galaxy had been warned. 50 years had passed since Earth established the Iron Fist Doctrine. The humans who had fought in the original liberation were now elderly or gone. A new generation had grown up knowing only peace secured through strength. On the frontier world of New Terra, Governor Andy Russell faced an unexpected crisis. Scanners had detected an unknown fleet approaching from beyond charted space. How many ships? He asked the defense coordinator. 23 vessels, larger than anything in our database, she replied. They're not responding to communication attempts. Andy activated the emergency protocol. Within minutes, the 8th Fleet, commanded by Admiral Samantha Reed, changed course to intercept the newcomers. Samantha studied the sensor readings from her flagship Guardian. At 48, she had spent her entire career preparing for this moment. First contact with a previously unknown species. "Deploy scout drones," she ordered. "Keep the fleet at yellow alert. No aggressive posturing." The mysterious ships continued their approach, ignoring all attempts at communication. Their design was unlike anything humans had encountered, curved structures that seemed to flow like liquid metal. "Admiral, the lead vessel has launched smaller craft," reported her tactical officer. "Intercept, but do not engage," Samantha replied. This could be their way of establishing contact. The smaller alien vessel approached the Guardian. Suddenly, all systems on the human ship flickered. Screens displayed a series of complex symbols. "They've hacked our computers," the communications officer said with alarm. Before Samantha could respond, the symbols transformed into recognizable text. "We have analyzed your communication protocols. We are the Novirian Collective. Your expansion ends here." The Guardian's shields activated automatically as the alien ships opened fire. Energy weapons unlike any humanity had faced tore through the outer defenses of 3 human vessels. "Full combat alert," Samantha ordered. "Evasive pattern Delta. Return fire." The battle lasted 6 hours. The Novirians possessed technology beyond Earth Alliance standards, but Samantha's fleet had numbers and experience. By the time reinforcements arrived, 3 human ships had been destroyed, but 17 alien vessels were disabled or destroyed. The captured Novirian commander was brought before the Earth Alliance Council on the capital world. President Jason Parker, a tall man with a soldier's bearing, led the questioning. "Why did you attack without provocation?" he demanded. The alien, a being with metallic skin and 4 eyes, responded through a translator. "We observed your species for 10 of your years. You follow the same pattern as the Galdorans. Expansion through intimidation. The strong cannot be allowed to dominate the weak." The irony was not lost on the human representatives. The very accusation they had once leveled against others was now directed at humanity. Defense Minister Laura Wilson leaned forward. "We maintain peace and protect former slave worlds. Our expansion has been invited, not forced." "So claim all empires," the Novirian replied. "The Galdorans said the same when they encountered our region of space 1,000 years ago. We defeated them then. We will oppose you now." This revelation stunned the council. The Novirians had fought and defeated the Galdorans long before humans had achieved spaceflight. In a private session, Earth's leaders debated their response. Some advocated for a preemptive strike against Novirian territory. Others suggested diplomacy. President Parker finally spoke. "The Iron Fist Doctrine has served us well, but perhaps it's time for something new. The Novirians see us becoming what we once fought against." He turned to the diplomatic corps. "Invite the Novirian leadership to peace talks, not as defeated enemies, but as equals with a shared history of opposing tyranny." The message was sent. 3 months later, Novirian representatives agreed to meet on neutral ground. The talks were tense but productive. Both sides recognized their similarities, species that had fought oppression and emerged stronger. The Treaty of New Beginnings established boundaries and protocols for interaction. The Iron Fist remained, but it opened slightly, allowing for understanding alongside strength. As President Parker signed the treaty, he reflected that perhaps this was humanity's true destiny, not merely to become powerful, but to use that power wisely, avoiding the mistakes of those who had once oppressed them.